Hey everyone, I'm here with Andrew, co-founder of YYC Cycle and YEG Cycle. Andrew, how you doing?
Yeah, good, Jeff.
Good. So, Andrew, can you give us a little bit of the lay of the land of just what's going on with you guys in both Calgary and Edmonton?
Yeah, I mean, sometimes it feels like we're watching a Hollywood movie, and we hope to wake up from the next morning. But yeah, Jeff, we have five studios, five spin studios between Calgary and Edmonton. We've been operating those studios for the last 6 years, and we have a team of just over 230 people that work for us, and a biker gang, an audience, a customer base of thousands that we're used to seeing every single week. That March 16th, we made the decision to preemptively close our studios to be a part of the solution of this whole thing. And then after that, it was definitely stressful the week leading up to that point. But since then, it's certainly given us even greater challenges kind of to navigate these waters.
You know what, and what do you see kind of in the short term, the next 30 to 60 days for you guys?
Yeah, I mean, we're very focused on really supporting our team internally and externally. Unfortunately, we had to lay off and let go temporarily about 95% of our team. And I really feel for that team. I mean, it sucks not seeing them every day. And, it's certainly an opportunity for perspective. I've mentioned at times that there's very few times, in fact, there's only one time that you can shut down your business for 3 months and then have it back again, is this situation. Usually when you shut down your whole business operation for months and months and months, that means you're dead in the water. You've gone under, so how often do we have the opportunity as entrepreneurs to almost see what it would be like to not have our businesses anymore? And you certainly gain some perspective of maybe things you take for granted sometimes and things that you won't take for granted when we get back out of this thing. So as far as timelines, we're very hopeful that Alberta is doing what it needs to do and Canada is doing what it needs to do for us to get back, at least in some perspective, at the beginning of June is what we're sending all of our good vibes that way. But certainly as a team, as a leadership team, that's still that we're still holding on to right now and keeping under salary. We're working really hard to make sure that we weather this storm, plus hopefully come back with a little bit of momentum out of this, if that's possible.
Well, you know what, and I'm a fan. I go to one of your studios down south, and I mean, it is something that you've got an amazing group of people that work with you. But I mean, you've got a massive audience of people that you're part of their lifestyle. I mean, that's got to be devastating.
Yeah, and it's again, perspective. I think we've had lots of love from our audience and from our biker gang and so on. And so it's interesting to look kind of on a higher level, on a bigger picture perspective of the fitness industry and what studios are doing. And I think the reality of this situation is that not all fitness studios are going to make it out of this. And so there's lots of businesses that are doing what they have to do to get out of this. And so that's taken a lot of different shapes, from holding online classes to renting out equipment from studios and so on. And so it's always a balance between doing what you need to do right now to weather the storm and what that looks like, but also keeping a longer term perspective to know that we will get out of this. And what are the things that you're doing right now in your business? What are they doing to help you in the long term?
You know what, and that's the thing. I mean, none of us have the answers, but I mean, any advice you'd share with other entrepreneurs? Because what I find is you tend to get a little bit lonely.
Yeah.
Any advice you'd have for other business leaders, entrepreneurs that are out there?
Well, I mean, Jeff, it's one of the reasons why I asked you to do an interview with this as opposed to just submitting a video. I mean, we're used to so much connection. I mean, I'm a big hug guy, love hugs. I can't wait to give a big hug to my parents or, my friends and the team when we're all out of this. So, I think that one of the biggest things is certainly that whatever connection you can create, not only within your team, within your customers, to really look for that. But you know, the other thing too, when you're navigating these whole waters is to make sure that, especially those entrepreneurs out there that do have teams or quite large teams like ours, is to be as transparent as possible, not only with your team, but each other. It's an opportunity to weather this storm together. I mean, you know, our employees and our team and our partners, you know, and our landlords and the partnerships that we have, everybody understands what we're going through right now. And everybody has a certain perspective of empathy of what everybody may be going through. But I think that being able to be transparent, being able to reach out when you think of reaching out to an employee or whatever it is, that connection really is important right now. Because it's really, there's a lot of bad news out there, and bad news only gets worse the longer you wait to tell someone it. You know, I was listening to Guy Kawasaki at a conference a while ago, and he said, the thing is that good news is always good news, no matter when you tell it to someone, right? It's always good news. Someone might say, well, why didn't you tell me that 3 months ago? But the thing with bad news is that it only gets worse the longer you wait. Right. So I think for entrepreneurs out there, we have to be a little bit more honest, and we have to be a little bit more transparent with our teams, because that really grows connection. You know, that really grows that camaraderie to make it through this together and understand that, hey, we're all fighting this battle.
Well, you know what, and we are, and I think, and it's interesting as well. And I ask everybody this, but I mean, I've had you kick my ass a few times in classes when I'm in the back corner trying to keep up. But what would you recommend, just again, and a lot of people are talking about staying active, but this is what you do for a living. What could you tell people, you know, to do to kind of manage through this stressful time?
Yeah, I think totally. I mean, I think structure is very important. So now that we're at home or have kids, or I think creating that structure, you know, taking a look at your weeks in advance and creating that structure is very important. To being creative, you know, being creative with the resources that you have. You know, not everybody has to have a spin bike and so on to stay active. And I think the most important thing is to be kind to yourself. I think it's really important for us right now to take care of our mental health. I think that it's really important to understand that now is not the time to be, you know, focusing on maybe social media more than we have in the past. You know, I've heard things of people talking about the COVID-15 and so on, like, you know, that kind of thing of gaining weight over this time. I don't know who started that, but they should be banned from social media. Yeah. I think the most important thing right now is taking this time to focus on your mental health and having those constant reminders, again, throughout the week, constant reminders to reassure yourself that you're exactly where you're supposed to be right now. The feelings that you're feeling, that's exactly how you're supposed to be feeling. And then most importantly of all, that you're not alone. If you're feeling a certain way, it's important you share that with people that you trust, you know, or share that with people that usually make you feel better or happier, or, but the most important thing, like, Jeff, we're all going to come out of this out to a certain extent out of shape, me included. You know, we're out of our routines. We're taking care of our families. We're doing things that maybe we enjoy more. Even nutritionally, I think it's important to keep a routine, but hey, if you feel like having a snack because it makes you feel better, do it and enjoy it. You know, I think that the same support that we're seeing for each other right now, we're going to rebuild together too. And that's physically, that's mentally, but it is lonely. You're right. And so it's really recognizing that and allowing yourself to be, empathetic to your own self. We do it so much for others, but, you know, give yourself a little bit of a break.
Well, you know what, and that just makes me think of it. Now's not the time to be stacking things on top of it. There's enough to worry about.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Um, any other words of encouragement or comments you'd have to business leaders out there, Andrew? I mean, I really appreciate you taking the time here today.
For sure. I mean, I just think that whole connection, you know, we always pride ourselves at YYC and YEG cycle that we're a space to belong to. You know, we're not in the business of spin classes. We're in the business of so much more: connection, community, passion, authenticity. You know, that's where I think during these times, entrepreneurs really need to look at not the product or service that they're offering customers out there, but what is the underlying theory, you know, what is the underlying philosophy? What is the underlying theme? Why do people really reach out and connect to your brands and your businesses and your services? And when maybe the physical aspect of, let's say, the bike is not available, or, you know, whatever business you may have, when the physical aspect or the tools that you have are not there to be able to provide for your customers, how are you going to dig deep and really find the meaning behind your businesses and really bring that out to create connection with your clients? I think that's really important, especially during these times.
You know, great comments. Totally appreciate it. You know, and I'm looking forward, as part of that biker game, to getting back into one of your classes soon here. So, Andrew, thanks for taking the time. Stay safe, stay healthy, and we'll hopefully see you in person sometime real soon here.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me, Jeff.
Perfect. Take care.
Bye.